Welcome to the Wrestling Still Cool podcast. My name's Cam. That's Mark.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for joining in.
Since this is an interview episode, we're going to go ahead and get the socials out of the way. You can follow us on Twitter at WrestlingSCool, which this past WrestleMania, I did live tweet both nights, mainly night 2. But go ahead and handle the rest.
Awesome. For Instagram, it's at Wrestling Still Cool. TikTok is at Wrestling Still Cool 90. We're also on LinkedIn, Wrestling Still Cool. Facebook is Wrestling Still Cool, and you get us on email at wrestlingstillcool@gmail.com.
One other thing, I know typically for the podcast episodes, there's an automatic tweet sent out that's done by Spreaker. I have noticed the past 2 episodes it didn't do it, so I sent those out and I pinned the last episode to the top so you'd be able to see those when you go to Twitter. All right, So this is about WrestleMania 37 from Tampa Bay at Raymond James Stadium, and night 1 got off to a rocky start thanks to thunderstorms that are very well known for Florida.
that was different. That was hey, I know. Thank you. Got to thank safety first, but that was a first for WrestleMania. That was interesting. But I didn't even know it happened until because of Peacock, the way they presented how to watch it. I didn't find out till later that night. I'm like, I tuned in about halfway into the night, I guess it was, and I was like, man, it's going a little late. Now kind of answers why, but yeah. I was busy filming my music videos, so I didn't get to the WrestleMania. It's about, I guess, 9:00. I guess, or just so. Anyways,
and they try to make up for it by having interviews done in the background. Which, here's the bad thing about WWE presentation: they usually write scripts for promos. It's not the wrestlers doing their own promos. So in this situation, people that haven't had to do their own promos in a long time struggled with it. And I get what they're trying to do. They're just trying to fill time, and I understand that. But it's more or less.
Do you feel like that they struggle with it, or do you think that they?
A couple of them really badly struggled with it. Of course, there's some people that did pretty well. Like Drew had done it before, so he was pretty much fine on his own. MVP done it before, so he was fine. Miz was fine, but there's a couple others you're really trying here, and you're not sure what to say.
I didn't get that on that one, but I guess maybe it's a live part. Maybe I just kind of digging on. I don't know.
Yeah. And the first match up, the start to night for night 1 was Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. This was for the WWE Championship, and not a bad match at all. WWE booked it well enough to where they had you care whether or not either one of them won. And Bobby Lashley basically had Drew tap out in the Hurt Lock.
He didn't tap out.
Not tap out. I'm sorry, pass out. I meant pass out in the Hurt Lock. So this leaves a bunch of momentum with Drew because he ultimately did not give up. He did not lose clean. And it could progress here. I don't think Bobby's going to keep it for much longer. I think we're looking at maybe another 4 months. But yeah, that's at least at this point, they're actually investing in Bobby Lashley.
For me, just as a fan, that loves faces, yes, it was a disappointment on that side of it. But as a viewer, that's part of the business, and as far as podcast, part of the business. But seeing it as a business, they did it. I think they made a good choice with it because it's they need to make more stars. You can't rely on one person. You can put that one person ahead of it, but it's more or less you got to build more stars. So that helped out Bobby Lashley building more into that. So obviously they did the right thing with making Drew McIntyre pass out. Because tapping out would not look good for him. Looking forward to seeing how much more what else comes next for them. It was a good match. It absolutely was. So it was something that it was a good kickoff to the show of shows.
Yeah, and I mean, as a Drew McIntyre fan, it was kind of like, man, I really wanted to see Drew win it, but at the same time, and looking at it from an outsider perspective, it would have damaged Bobby Lashley a lot to lose clean to Drew at this show. The only way they would have been able to pull it off without damaging Bobby Lashley is if Shelton Benjamin or Cedric Alexander interfered, in which they didn't, so it wouldn't make sense.
Technically, what it's supposed to because they're a band, but you know how things can be swept under the rug. So
Right. It's just a side note. The next match, I really dug this idea, and I wish they would do this more often. The tag team turmoil match. We had Lana and Naomi versus Billie Kay and Carmella versus Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose versus Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott versus Natalya and Tamina.
I agree. I wish they would do this kind of stuff more often. I agree with that. It makes for good entertainment, and it's just cool to watch. So.
Well, and it's one of those where I'm watching this and I'm like, they haven't really pulled this off too much lately. And just looking at how it could be done, it can be easily done with some of the people that they had on the roster now. And I'm going to put a side note to this. Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott, their whole cosplay as the Joker and Harley Quinn, love it.
The Joker and who?
And Joker and Harley Quinn.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
Liv Morgan was dressed up as Harley Quinn. Ruby Riott was the Joker with the green hair and the ha-ha-ha all over the place.
Oh, I guess I didn't catch that, but you're also the Batman person, so.
Oh, I love Batman. And in the version of Harley Quinn Liv Morgan did was the one from the Suicide Squad and the Emancipation of Harley Quinn movies. I know you don't watch those, so it doesn't make any sense to you.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
Ultimately, the weird teams. Okay, so there's some weird teams in here because I'll be frank, I have watched programming, but Lana and Naomi I could kind of see. Billie Kay and Carmella did not make any sense to me, and I watched SmackDown before WrestleMania, after WrestleMania, so I saw how those two got put together. I know Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose have been a tag team now for a while. And I don't know where Natalya and Tamina came from, but essentially you got with Natalya and Tamina, you have 2 second generation women's wrestlers.
Yeah, I mean, they've teamed up before. I mean, they're not, they're still getting more build on them, but I was glad to see them take that victory. Honestly,
Right.
It was good. It was a good match. There was a kind of confusing moment there you saw with the ring announcer saying that they got eliminated. Well, not them, but Ruby Riott.
Yeah.
That happens.
See that. Here's the kicker. Someone who doesn't watch wrestling was in here, and they're like, "Wait, I thought they won." Like they did. And he said, correction. Like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Live TV, baby.
Yeah. WrestleMania, especially night one, was off to a very, very rough. There's a lot of things that happened, including Mandy Rose falling on the rampway, which I don't know if you paid attention to night two, but Randy Orton walking slow, that was him mocking Mandy Rose. Yeah. Cesaro versus... Yeah.
Oh.
What?
Yeah. There was a silence for like 5 seconds.
No. I was saying that Mandy Rose fell and Randy Orton made fun of it on night two with his slow walk down the ramp.
Sorry, I heard that pause.
Yeah, you're good. So the next match ended up being Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. I wasn't sure what they're going to do here because really Cesaro is one of those people that should have been given a chance multiple times over. But they redeemed him here. He beat Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins went for the stomp. Cesaro caught him with uppercut, neutralizer, and one clean. Now it's like, okay, let's see what they're going to do with Cesaro now.
Yeah, Cesaro needed that victory, man. That wasn't even fun. He needed that. Because if they didn't put him over as a victor, then why would you have the match for him? I said that when we did the our last episode. I'm like, if they don't have Cesaro walk out the victor, then that match is pointless. I mean, I don't see where I don't see how you can see it like any other way, honestly. So that was a much needed victory from Cesaro in every way. So I'm glad he won. Now they need to capitalize on that. Now
they definitely need to capitalize on it. And leading up to this, I wasn't sure what they're going to do because they haven't really put in an investment in Cesaro previously. But then they're selling with Seth, selling him being afraid of the swing. So it's like, okay, they actually might take this pretty seriously then.
Yeah. It was a great storytelling match, man. It was like one of the top matches. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't expect anything differently with Seth Rollins and Cesaro, two very talented, obviously, workers. But I just, they're also hard hitting guys too. So just very good storytelling and awesome finish, man. It's all around a match that kept me interested. So props to them
Right.
guys, and yeah, absolutely.
And then immediately after this, and this is actually a move that I actually disagree with the WWE. I know why they did it, but it's something I disagree with. It was AJ and Omos versus the New Day. AJ and Omos came away with the win. Ultimately, the New Day was used to put over Omos as a competitor, and I get that. It's just
Is it Omos or is it Omos?
I think it's Omos. I might be mispronouncing.
I'll just make it. And it took me a little while to learn his name myself, so I couldn't even.
It's a very unique name.
Oh yeah, it definitely is a very unique name.
And I know they're trying to put value into him, but at the same time, I don't know. It feels weird to have the New Day lose at WrestleMania to someone new.
Yeah, it was destroyed, man. It's just weird. It was weird, but I mean, it was not a highlight match for the New Day or AJ Styles and in their usual form. But yeah, I mean, I didn't see that. I didn't see New Day walk out of the victory because I know they're putting over Omos and his debut match at WrestleMania, and yeah, it kind of made, and I didn't like the way that they booked it when they didn't want Omos to come in, and they were like weirded out, kind of looked scared when he was in there. I mean, I big guy, I understand that, but I just didn't like the way
stuff with the Wyatts. You know what I mean? It didn't go in line with that. Which to me, I'm sorry, the Wyatts. When I mean by the Wyatts, I mean like all four of them, technically.
Yeah.
They were more scary than Omos.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that way because they're a little more, obviously, they're darker and so forth. But I just put, Omos a big, 7 foot plus 300, whatever pounds, 400 pounds. I think they said he was. That's what they had. That's what they said, at least. Yeah, but I can see the like, damn, he's a big dude, but like they also won a piece of him before then. Like, they had that because they were frustrated with the things that Omos had done to them. So I'm like, but it just was terrible booking the way they had to sell that when he was coming in and they were telling AJ, don't tag him in. I'm like, that's not the New Day. That's not our traditional, what we always known New Day, or at least, their attitude. So I'm like, I just did not like that sell the way they booked it. It's like, okay, this is, I wouldn't call it a great match anyways, but I just didn't like the way it was booked. So
I didn't like how it was booked either. It definitely didn't. It didn't fit the New Day, and it sounds kind of weird. But if I was wanting to switch it up and let's say New Day win, I would love to see them hit like a 3D on Omos.
3D.
Yeah, like the Dudleys, because they faced the Dudleys before, but I can see them doing that move.
I just don't see it.
But because they could not hit their normal moves.
I understand. I just can't feel or picture that as a finish, or at least them doing that move. But I mean, I just me. But I just didn't like. Once again, it was the way it was booked was just not done right. But hopefully, I could definitely gonna see. I think we're gonna see AJ and Omos be tag champs for a while. This has a resemblance to for y'all that might remember, especially y'all youngins that watch it on Peacock, is the old time the old days with Shawn Michaels and Diesel. It kind of has that flow with it. I'm not saying it's identical. I'm just saying it has that flow with it.
I made a joke on Twitter that WWE stole a boy and his dinosaur.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one too.
Because that's what immediately made me think of, because AJ rides on Omos. I'm like, oh, okay. So we got a boy and a dinosaur, huh? and I put hashtag gimmick infringement. The next one is Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon in a cage match.
I was glad to see Braun whoop some ass. And I know you were hoping for Shane to jump off, or at least they can jump off that cage. At least he did, but he didn't jump over